Chess.com is pleased to have Henry Patten, Wimbledon doubles finals champion this year, an avid chess player, join us for a chat about his finals experience and his chess playing prowess. Thank you, Henry, for joining us.
My pleasure. Yeah, this was really exciting for me. So when you reached out, I was really pleased.
Cool. Yeah, we've got a lot of symbiosis, including the fact that you used to live in Asheville, where this where it's taking place for me. But before we actually talk about your big finals win in your home country, I want to let the viewers know a little bit about you. So you defeated four ranked teams on your way to the title out of the six. You were unranked, and prior to this year, you had not won a Wimbledon doubles match ever. So you kind of came out of nowhere, and you actually played a little bit of chess on chess.com during the tournament. So we're going to get into all that. Your career high singles ranking is 462. Now, for the chess players out there, that's equivalent to a grandmaster in chess of about 2550s. That's still really, really good. And it was cool to watch your finals on TV, and I reached out. So anyway, that sets the scene a little bit. But let me start by asking you about that finals match. You faced several match points, but you totally kept your cool. And I want to know, when you play chess, are you also able to keep your cool in just the same way that you did during that finals match?
No, absolutely not. And yeah, recently I've just been playing a lot of daily games. So when it comes to like rapid and especially blitz, I can get really flustered. I think that's the case with most things. I'm obviously much better at tennis than I am at chess and can rely on my skills a little bit more. Whereas, yeah, chess, I tend to enter panic mode quite easily.
Well, I wouldn't have known it by watching the finals match. I mean, really, for anybody who's not seen it, go look at the highlights, because you could not tell the score by looking at your face. And it was as close as they come. 6-7, 7-6, 7-6. You actually had to go to 11-9 in the third set tiebreak. But after the match was over, Henry, you said you couldn't even really remember what happened. Have you at least gone back and looked at some of the highlights?
Yeah, I have watched. I haven't watched the whole match because it was obviously so close. And I think the match was about 2 hours and 50 minutes long, which, I mean, for a tennis match, that's pretty long. For a chess match, maybe not. But yeah, I've certainly watched the tiebreak, and obviously I've seen the video of the match point over and over again. It was a really special, emotional moment for me and my partner. And yeah, for a long time, I imagine will probably be sort of the best moment of my life. So yeah, I'm trying to appreciate that as much as I can now.
Cool. Yeah, only the third British player ever to win the men's doubles. That was awesome to see. And now both you and your Finnish partner, Harry Heliövera, said that luck played a bit of a strong component in this final match. You had a critical net court in that second set tiebreak, and you hit a bunch of lines, much to the chagrin of your opponents. They were visibly upset by that. But do you think there's also luck in chess?
Well, I was thinking about this prior to the interview. I suppose it's a bit like if your opponent's in a slightly winning position and they just can't quite find the right move to finish you off. And yeah, then we were kind of back in the game, and it was equal, and right at the end managed to just sneak it out. Yeah, I mean, like my dad said, I came off court, my dad was there, and he said, God, that was like a bank robbery. And that's exactly how it felt. It was like we just won the last point of the match, and that's all you need to do in tennis, kind of similar to chess, where you just have to make make the right move right at the end, and it can all be over. So yeah, it was a surreal feeling to come out on top.
And of course, doubles has this unique component where you're playing with a partner. And much like chess, you might go into a game with a certain idea, and then before you know it, your king is out in the middle of the game, and you have to adjust. So, how much did you and Harry adjust in the middle of that finals match? Did you change any tactics or anything during the changeovers?
Yeah, always. So we always will do like a kind of scouting report on our opponents, no matter who we're playing. So we'll come up with specific, strengths and weaknesses that they might have, and how we can target that. And then also during the match, obviously we're constantly having to adjust to what they're doing. So if Jordan Thompson is hitting his backhand much better than we expected, then we're not going to go there too often. So yeah, I honestly, I think there's so many similarities between chess and tennis. Obviously, they're very different games in their own right, but yeah, the strategy, obviously in singles especially, but also doubles, it's quite an individual sport too, and you're kind of left out there on your own. So yeah, I mean, I think chess has helped my tennis quite a lot.
There's a lot of other famous chess players who play tennis and tennis players who play chess, and we'll get to them in a minute. But I want to talk about pressure just once more, because you said the pressure in chess can be really intense. But you were out there on center court. Much has been made about the fact that about 8 years ago, you were a statistician for IBM on some of the outer courts. So, number one, had you ever been inside center court before, actually on the grass? And number two, do you think some of the tension that you've learned to deal with in chess helped you play in front of your home crowd there in the finals?
I've never been able to step foot on the grass of centre court. I've been there, obviously I've worked there, so I've been able to have a little look around from the stands. And as a spectator, I've been lucky enough to watch some matches on there. The first time I stepped on the court was actually the morning of the final. The one of the members kind of showed me around and let me step on the grass and get a feel for the arena, I suppose. And yeah, it's difficult. Like I said, my level of chess and my level of tennis, they're vastly different. So I probably feel the pressure a little bit more in chess because I don't have all of the tools to kind of deal with that pressure effectively. But yeah, certainly it's similar. I guess the only thing in chess that's different is there's some time pressure, which in tennis, doesn't exist so much. You have to be quick between points, but that's about it. So yeah, it's helped me. It's helped me strategically. I love to play it to pass time, at events to kind of keep my mind working and active. And yeah, it's definitely helped me. Definitely.
Yeah, the serve clock is not quite the same as in chess. It does reset after each point.
Yeah, exactly.
Strictly tennis question here because I'm a tennis player. How did you learn to volley with such soft hands and extreme angles at the net? I've never seen anything like it. How'd you learn that?
Yeah, it's always funny watching the commentary on any doubles match, especially with double specialists like myself, because lots of the commentators kind of say, oh, they're so instinctive and they're so talented, and how can they hit these shots? And frankly, we just practice those kinds of shots every single day. All of the reflexes, all of the angles, even the patterns that we play, we just practice them and practice them and practice them. So in those moments, you're not even thinking about it. It's just the brain kind of takes over, and I don't even have to think about it. And that's taken quite a few years to develop. But then obviously in the pressure situations, the less you're thinking about it, the better.
I think actually a lot of our viewers can relate to that because when we see Nakamura just know what his opponent is going to do, it actually totally makes sense the way you explain it. As you mentioned, or as I mentioned before, you actually played a couple games on chess.com in the middle of Wimbledon. Nothing after your second round win, I don't think. And I'm not going to dox you and explain what your account name is or anything like that. Interestingly, you lost to the London system in the middle of your Wimbledon. So you weren't actually undefeated in London, but that's just a little joke. The main reason you play chess during tournaments or before matches, though, is it to pass the time or is it to keep your brain sharp? Is there some sort of larger reason that you play sometimes?
It's both. So, I really picked up chess during the pandemic. That was where I kind of learned the basics, how to play. And as a tennis player, you're traveling all over the world. So you're not in the same place, well, every week, basically. And also, there's a lot of waiting around. So, for example, at Wimbledon, the weather was awful the first week, so we weren't able to play. So, yeah, certainly, firing up a game of chess on my phone, I can do it anywhere in the world against anyone, and yeah, I can obviously kind of set the time limits as well. So it's ideal for that for me. And also, yeah, I just love the strategy. I love the game. I love competing. I'm a competitive person and I love to win and hate to lose in chess. Yeah, I really love it. And it happens to fit in really well with my career right now.
And you've become a doubles specialist. In a way, I've been thinking about it before the interview. In doubles, you can poach, you can hit specifically to one player or one player's certain stroke. You can play double back. You can play the Australian setup. Do you think that doubles is more like chess just because there's more strategy, it seems, than singles?
Yeah, potentially. And also, we kind of before every point, which is almost like before every move in chess, I suppose, we're kind of thinking about, where I'm going to serve or where my partner's going to move to. So you're constantly trying to kind of plan out in advance, kind of like calculating in chess, I suppose, what's going to happen. And obviously sometimes you get it wrong, but yeah, they're very similar games in that respect. I think the only way singles is potentially more like chess is it's obviously one-on-one. which, yeah, when I picked up chess, I was also playing singles, so that was kind of a nice comparison to make as well.
And you've done almost 10,000 puzzles on chess.com. By the way, we should give you a little bit of credit. You have a peak puzzle rating over 2,300. So you're selling yourself a little bit short on your chess skills there. But you've also played about 3,000 games across all time controls, bullet and daily and everything. So what do you enjoy the most when you log in?
I always do. I always try and do the daily puzzle. So that's the first thing that I'll do, and maybe fire up a few other puzzles. That's like my daily like touch point of chess. I wake up and I do the daily puzzle on chess.com, depending on where I am in the world, obviously because of the time differences. But yeah, I do the daily puzzle on chess.com and a quick cryptic crossword puzzle on my phone, and that kind of gets me ready for the day. Yeah, I've been slacking. On the live games, I've been slacking recently, honestly. I mean, it's been a stressful few weeks. But I've generally been playing more kind of daily games. So, and I also love that because it just means I can pick up my phone at any time during the day, play a move, and then I don't have to worry about it for however long. Yeah, I will get back into the live games. I will. But I want to do it properly, when I first picked it up, I was getting some lessons, and obviously chess.com has a great kind of database of lessons and puzzles and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I need to get back on the horse.
Well, don't get on it so much that we see you making your daily move during a changeover. Okay, that's not
Okay.
what we're looking for. But well, I mentioned that some very famous tennis players play chess. Actually, Federer was interviewed at Wimbledon this year. He was asked how he's spending retirement, and one of the first things he said instantly was online chess. He's got not the best knees anymore. Do you think there's a better chance of you beating him in tennis or in chess these days?
Oh, I don't know. Uh, I'll take my chances over the chessboard, I think. Not that I know anything about his rating or anything like that. I would love to play chess against him. I think on the doubles court, I'd probably back myself. Singles, there hasn't really been a player like him for quite some time. So I wouldn't be bold enough to say that I would beat him on the singles court right now.
Well, just to let you know, he did play a series of chess matches in Washington Square Park in New York City last year against one of the chess kid ambassadors named Tani Adewume. And Tani estimated Federer's strength at 1,500. So I think it would be pretty interesting. It'd be maybe 50-50 or so.
Yeah, I'd have to come up with an opening that he hasn't seen before and take my chances from there.
That sounds good. Now, Ivan Lubicic, who's the former coach of Federer, says that Federer likes to play bullet and kill time and distract himself. So why do you prefer daily, do you think, over bullet? Or is it just kind of the mood you're in at the time?
100%, it's the mood I'm in. Like I said, bullet and blitz is stressful for me. I'd say, yeah, my favorite time controls are probably rapid, so kind of 15 minutes plus, and I like to have an increment if I'm playing that so it doesn't get too close at the end. And also daily games. But I think if I was better at chess, then maybe I would like to play blitz and bullet. I know one of my really good friends, a British player, his rating is, I think, 1900. He's got it up to on blitz. So that's great to see and is inspiring for me.
Okay. I know Federer would be a toss-up, but I do want to let you know we had a bot previously on chess.com for Carlos Alcaraz, and we put his playing strength at 1,000. So if we ever bring that bot back, I feel like you're the money favorite if you play the Alcaraz bot. So
I beat him. I played him. I made a point to play him, and I took him down. So I was I was pleased with that. I was pleased with that.
Okay. You played the bot or the man?
The bot.
Okay,
The bot. The
we'll
bot.
have to see if we can organize a match against the man.
Oh,
So,
please. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, of all the tennis players on tour, singles or doubles, men or women, who's the most cerebral on the court? Who can you see with like the machine turning while you play? Or, you don't have to have played this person, but just anybody.
Actually, I would say one of the Aussies that we played in the final, Max Purcell, is his tennis IQ, which is kind of the phrase that people use to describe that side of it, is phenomenal. And in terms of his kind of calculation and split second decision making, I don't think there's many better. And it's like he just kind of plucks the right move from thin air, whether that's a lob or a little dink or an angle. He makes it really difficult for opponents. So yeah, I'd definitely say Max Purcell is up there for me.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you and Harry lost to the same Aussie team on clay, maybe last year or something.
It might have. No, I think so. We did. I played against Thompson and Purcell in Houston, but that was with a different part. That was with Julian Cash. Yeah, which was
Okay.
a little bit of a different match, and obviously I had a different partner. It was on clay, so yeah, that's the one thing in tennis. Obviously, the conditions can impact a match quite a lot, whereas in chess, I don't think that's so much of a factor.
Well, it's still kind of interesting. In chess, we have these databases where we go back and we look at prior games. So, did you and your new partner go back and look at that match, even though it was on clay and it was a year ago? Do you actually study film basically to prepare for opponents?
Yes, absolutely. And again, yeah, it's a great similarity to draw on. We're always. So I think before the final, we were looking. I think we had that match that you mentioned, but also we had about 6 or 7 matches, which we were kind of scouting from, and then we have a huge database of whether that's kind of serve direction or preferred returns, that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a database for tennis matches as well, which is yeah invaluable for us.
That's fascinating. And we've talked about some famous tennis players who play chess, but most of the famous top chess players also play tennis. Magnus Carlsen, the number one rated player of all time, plays tennis. Hikaru Nakamura, world number 2 or 3, depending on the time of this release. Also, Gukesh, the young teenager who will play for the world championship, he said he plays some amateur level tennis. So, why do you think chess players gravitate toward tennis perhaps more than any other sport?
That's a really good question. I mean, I can explain it from my side, but I guess maybe it's the kind of the one versus one aspect that is really attractive probably to chess players into tennis. And compared to other sports, maybe tennis is a bit more strategic, and it's not just pure kind of athleticism. There is lots of strategy involved, trying to target weaknesses and plan out your point in that way. So yeah, I mean those are the things that I think, but certainly the one versus one aspect I think is really similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-reliance in both sports. And also to compare both sports, you actually played an opponent, you probably don't even realize this on your account, whose account was closed for cheating. This happens in the chess world. Yeah, we actually mark it on your account, again, not to dox your account, but in both chess and tennis, especially at the lower levels of tennis, you have to call your own lines.
Yeah.
And in chess, until you get to the higher levels, most of the game is you have to call your own fouls. If you touch a piece, you're supposed to be honorable. So, who do you think in general is more honorable, chess players or tennis players? Because I'm sure you've seen a wide gambit of tennis. Honestly,
I would have to say chess players. I don't know, but yeah, I played college tennis, and it's crazy out there. Some of the line calls, especially. Yeah, I've seen it all in my time. Line calling, changing the score. I mean, various acts of gamesmanship, whatever that might be. And I think the etiquette in chess tends to be better if you're playing over the board. You don't get people kind of screaming in your face or, throwing the pieces all over the place. Maybe I'm biased, but I would say probably tennis is worse. Yeah.
okay, well, we feel a little bit good about that, I suppose.
Yeah.
And just to tie together our synergy, you played college tennis at UNC Asheville. I'm currently in Asheville where I live. You were an All-American. Did you ever play chess in Asheville? There used to be some people that played in downtown in Pack Square. I'm just curious if you ever, or did you play against any of your teammates in college or anything like that?
No, so actually, while I was at college, I didn't really play. It was only probably the year after where I picked it up. And I have been back to Asheville, and I've noticed the chessboards out on the square. I do now play with some of my old teammates who also picked up chess. So yeah, it really seems like a game that tennis players are drawn to for some reason.
Yeah, we have a lot of breweries, as you know, and it's one of the most popular things to see at breweries. Do you have any chess heroes or stars that you look up to?
Oh yeah, I mean certainly Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru, phenomenal players. Levi Rosman, Gotham Chess, of course. I've watched so many of his videos, especially a couple of years ago. I was like basically falling asleep to his videos every night. don't know if that's a good thing for him or a bad thing, but yeah, I loved his. Eric Rosen, who I think plays a bit of tennis as well. I watched a bunch of his videos. So yeah, lots of people that I enjoy to watch and admire greatly.
You mentioned Eric Rosen. He's actually been helping me because he played a chess and tennis tournament in Baden-Baden, Germany last year, which I'm going to play in 2 weeks. He was trying to help me understand the format. Now, the chess part, you play 7 10-point tie breaks on day one. And he said you really have to pace yourself because it's all tennis on day one. So do you have any advice for me? I've only played on red clay in Costa Rica, which is not the real stuff. So any advice for me? I'm a baseliner, how should I play on clay when I've got to play 70 points?
Well, certainly if you're a baseliner, that's working in your favor already. I would say, I mean, I just hit on clay today actually with Rinky Hijikata, who's going to play in the Olympics next week. So the biggest thing is just hitting the ball high over the net. You don't want to be missing balls in the net. There's no reason to be doing that on clay. And yeah, I mean, you can try and hit with a bit more top spin. That tends to be pretty effective on clay, and using the angles as well. If you can get your opponent out of the court, kind of slipping around on that surface, that should be effective. So yeah, those are the three things that I would say will make a difference on clay.
I'm totally going to take that advice, and I'm honored that I got advice from a Wimbledon champ. Just a few more questions. Actually, do one question about you. If I end up playing a lefty like you, like, how do I overcome that psychologically? That can't be fun. In doubles, it's accepted one partner's righty, one partner's lefty. But yeah, do you think it plays with somebody mentally? Like, I don't know if chess, somebody plays an unorthodox move or something. You think being a lefty has a psychological advantage?
People always tell me that being a lefty is an advantage. Yeah, I don't know. It's just different. It's just a little bit different. I would say focus on your own game. So don't worry about them being a lefty. Play to your strengths. I would say most lefties probably favor their forehand, and especially on clay, that's probably going to be their most dangerous shot. It's a lot more difficult to generate pace and spin out of the backhand corner. So play your game. Don't get thrown off by the left-handedness, and probably target their backhand if you can. Those would be my advice.
Okay, cool. Now, while you're in Wimbledon, I'm sure you were focusing obviously on your tournament, but a big story broke in the chess world in your country. A 9-year-old named Bodhana Sivanandan got selected for the English women's national team at 9 years old. It was all over the press, but I'm curious if it made its way to your phone. Did you read about this story?
No, I didn't see that. That is incredible. I mean, when I watch tennis, I always, because of obviously the physical aspect of tennis, you don't really get those kinds of stories in tennis, where even if their tennis IQ might be unbelievably developed at that age, they just physically can't do it. So yeah, it's a little bit scary seeing some of these young kids playing chess. It's phenomenal, and yeah, I'm upset that I didn't see that. I'll have to I'll have to do some research and yeah, try and pass on my congratulations somehow. That's amazing.
Yeah, she'll be in the news for a long time. 9 years old. She's
Yeah.
almost 2,200, and pretty cool that
Well,
she got selected. So, well, great. Where are we going to see you next? What's next on your tournament schedule?
oh, so I've got Washington coming up. That'll be week after next, and then so Washington, Montreal, Cincinnati, all consecutive weeks, and then maybe a week off, and then the US Open, which is the next Grand Slam, which is one of my favorite tournaments. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I've been there, and I can name a couple of chess grandmasters that go each year as fans. So you might be playing in front of some pretty famous chess players without even knowing it. So, all right, I'm gonna get you out of here with a totally random question because you're kind of a product of the U.S. You've spent 4 years here in college. What are your thoughts on pickleball?
Pickleball seems to be a really divisive sport. I've spoken to lots of kind of club tennis players. They all seem to hate it. I've spoken to lots of pickleball players. They love it. Look, as far as I'm concerned, if it's a sport that's accessible and getting people moving and not least playing a racket sport, I think it's a great thing. I enjoy to play it myself. I can play with my girlfriend who doesn't really like to play tennis because it's a little bit more difficult. And yeah, we can go out and have fun. So yeah, I love it. It's a little bit noisy for my liking, but I think it's a good thing.
Okay, yeah, you towed the line well there without completely castigating it. So
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, it was an honor talking with you. Henry Patten, the most famous UNC Asheville Bulldog tennis player of all time and Wimbledon doubles champion, frequent chess.com player. Hopefully, we did not reveal your actual account name, but I apologize if you get 100 friend requests after this interview. So thanks for your time, and I hope to see you online or at the US Open on center court in the finals.
I look forward to it. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Henry.